Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the September 2022 Cozy Mystery releases. This is a video I do on my channel every single month. It's one of my favorites to do. So let's go ahead and hop into the first release this September. So our first book is called Seems Like Murder. It is a sewing studio mystery, and this is actually book one in the series. This is a new series by Dorothy Howell. And Dorothy Howell is a US Today bestselling author, and it will be coming out on September 27th, 2022. So our main character Abby is returning to Hideaway Grove, which is a place where she spent a lot of her childhood summers. It's a place she has really fond memories, and she's just looking for kind of a fresh start. And her aunt also lives there and runs a bakery. And Abby is going about her business when one day a local librarian in the area is actually mowed down in the parking lot. And it's a hit and run murder. No one, stopped, and there was just one witness, but the witness really isn't that helpful for the police, and they actually end up handing Abby the librarian's book bag that they dropped, and that's kind of what the start of the mystery is. Then kind of the next facet of the mystery, which ties it into the whole sewing studio theme, is that Abby, who knows nothing about sewing at all, gets kind of pulled into sewing for a charity event that's coming up. So she sets up kind of shop in the back of her aunt's bakery, and she's working to learn how to sew, and she's quickly graduating through the different sewing levels and learning how to sew different things from aprons to pillowcases, dresses, etc., and she's getting ready to participate in this sewing fair for charity. However, as she starts to look at the librarian's bag and just kind of look into the librarian's life a little bit, she begins to notice different patterns, much like the patterns she's sewing for the charity fair in the sewing she's doing, and she starts to kind of piece things together until she actually has an idea of who did a hit and run on this librarian. So that's kind of the start of this new Cozy Mystery series. I think this sounds like an absolutely delightful Cozy Mystery series, even though I personally don't have a huge interest in sewing. This sounds really fun. If you've read anything by this author, let me know, but this one I'm definitely putting a pin in. This one sounds really good. So our next book was one I actually put on my most anticipated releases for the rest of the year, the second half of 2022, and this is called Because I Could Not Stop Death. It's an Emily Dickinson mystery, book one in the series. It's written by Amanda Flower, which is a little bit of a detour from her typical cozy. It starts in January 1855, and it will be coming out on September 20th, 2022. So I personally love a good historical fiction cozy mystery. This one really intrigues me because the star of the series is actually Emily Dickinson, or a reimagined, version of her in this book. And basically one day a maid-to-be named Willa is applying to the Dickinson household, and she is sure that she is not going to get in, she's not going to make it basically into the household even though she's applying, because she arrives late and she's all muddied and wet from the rain, and it's just, bad sign. She had a bit of bad luck trying to get there. However, just as she's being turned away, Emily Dickinson actually calls out to her and ends up hiring her instead. So she is hired into the household, and they quickly become fast friends, which is, a really nice experience for them. So everything's going pretty well until Willa's brother Henry dies in the stables, which wouldn't be that odd, because the stables might have some different dangers and things that could happen there, dealing with the horses and stuff. However, Willa strongly suspects that there was actually foul play involved with her brother's murder or death, so she confides in Emily about this because she doesn't have any local family or friends that could really help her with the situation. And Emily also thinks there's some suspicious elements that could have led to someone wanting Henry dead, because according to Willa at least, Henry had said a few days before his death that he was about to come into some money. He had a big idea. He was going to, set them up for life monetarily. And Willa thinks that perhaps someone was trying to take him out for something that he might have come across. And so the two of them start working together to try to solve this mystery. I'm really interested in this. I haven't, this is a new series. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really curious about if Emily Dickinson is a recluse in this series, if she only stays in the house for the mystery series, and Willa is the one who ventures out, because I know, at least in real life, that Emily Dickinson was a recluse, although I'm not sure if that was her entire life, or maybe her latter part of her life. I'm not really sure, but this one sounded really interesting to me, and I love a good historical fiction cozy. So our next one has the most adorable cover. It's called A Dark and Snowy Night, a Seaside Knitters Society. This is book 5 within the series. It is written by Sally Goldenbaum, and this is a holiday cozy mystery. It's located in Sea Harbor, Massachusetts, and it will be coming out on September 27th, 2022. So this cozy mystery involves a group of sleuths basically. So there are 4 main characters within the knitting group that are sleuths. This is the 5th book in the series, and essentially they're going about their lives. You know, one of them just hired a salesperson because they're really busy at their shop. Another one actually owns and runs a lobster fishery, which I think is really cool. Being from the Southwest, we definitely don't have lobster fisheries, you know, just hanging around out here, so that one sounds really cool to me. They're going about their life, and the new mayor in town is actually throwing a huge party. And a lot of people are getting invited. It's going to be a big show of grandeur and just fun and like a holiday celebration, it sounds like. So at least one of the group, Nell and her husband, actually attend the party, and they're having a good time. Everything's going well, and they actually bump into an old college friend named Oliver. And later on within this party, basically 2 bodies are found under the mistletoe together, and that is the chef of the party and the Oliver's wife, which is, you know, very odd, and they're both kind of positioned under the mistletoe. So this quickly launches into an investigation. The party's shut down, and the knitting sleuthing group is on it again. So this sounds like there's 4 sleuths in this, so it sounds like it could be a very busy cozy mystery with all the different characters, but it sounds fun. Let me know if you've read this one. I haven't personally, but the cover on this is so cute. I absolutely love it. So our next one is by a very popular author, Lynn Cahoon, and that is called A Vacation to Die For. This is a tourist trap mystery, book 14 in the series, again by Lynn Cahoon, and it will be coming out on September 6th, 2022. So our main character in this is named Jill, and she owns a shop called Coffee, Books, and More, and she's just trying to get a break here. She is a bride-to-be. She is engaged to, it sounds like, a deputy or like a police officer basically, and so to kind of get their wedding plans under, you know, like they're having some issues getting their wedding plans coordinated, and they just want some time to themselves, so they actually take off to a local, like nearby South California town to just kind of have a retreat to themselves. However, quickly into their trip, her husband gets called back to town because there was a murder. So she kind of stays behind, determined to relax and enjoy the spa and just kind of decompress a little bit from all of the going-ons as she prepares for the wedding. However, she can't really relax because she finds out that this man, Max Winter, is trying to kind of undermine like a property deal she's involved with. There's also this like man who seems to be kind of following her around. She just can't get a break basically. And then last but certainly not least, there's this obnoxious family member who's just really getting in one of her employees' faces for no apparent reason, or just like undeservingly certainly, and so she's just frustrated about that. She's weirded out by the man following her around. She's concerned about the murder, and on top of all that, she somehow ends up in the crosshairs of a killer. So this is a really popular mystery. I know. I love the covers in this. I think they're very fun. I gotta give this one a try. I feel like I might have read the first book, but I might need to revisit this. So our next one has a very fun title. It's called A Good Dog's Guide to Murder, but this is part of the Paws and Claws mystery series by Krista Davis. It is book 8 within the series, and it will be coming out on September 6th, 2022. I haven't personally read this series, but I love Krista Davis's Pen and Ink mystery series. I've read all the books in this series, and I've recently started reading the Domestic Diva series, and I've really been enjoying that, so I know some of you have recommended this one as well to me, and it sounds adorable. So the premise for this series is our main character, Holly, has 2 pets, which make up the Paws and Claws part of the mystery title. So you have Trixie, who is a really smart Jack Russell Terrier, adorable, and you have Twinkle Toes, who is her calico kitty. I apologize if you can hear any thunder. It's really loud. So basically this cozy mystery takes place around Thanksgiving time. A bunch of tourists are coming into town for a gingerbread festival, and it sounds like the gingerbread houses are themed with like cat and dogs, which I think sounds really fun, really on theme for this cozy. Everything's going well, and unfortunately a resident in town dies, it seems of natural causes. His name is Orly Biffle. Really interesting name, and he actually donates his land, which is on a really nice like property on the lake, to the town with one condition. They have to keep this giant oak tree in the middle. Like, they have to keep it. They can't like chop it down. So the town agrees to that. They are celebrating on the land. However, one of the really big branches on the oak tree ends up falling and almost like hurting someone badly. So the mayor unfortunately decides, okay, we have to cut this down. Like, it's actually a hazard to people, unfortunately. So when they're cutting it down, they actually find a body inside the tree. I have so many questions about how exactly that happened, but I'm very curious. I love the idea there. So basically this involves some kind of old cold case. People are starting to really question like the man who owned the land, Orly, like wondering if this is some cruel joke or if he was the murderer or what exactly is all this, you know. So this one sounds really fun, and the fun part about it too is that before the tree's chopped down, Holly's cat and dog are actually like alerting, like they're pointing to the tree, like there's something up and they know it. So when that is uncovered, Holly's not shocked. She quickly gets involved in the investigation, and the rest is history, you know, with the mystery series. But this one sounds really fun. I love Krista Davis's writing style. She has some really, really great books that I've read so far, and I love the idea of a Paws and Claws mystery book. And this will be a fun kind of holiday themed one because it takes place right around Thanksgiving. We have the gingerbread contest, all of that. So our next one is part of a series that I really enjoy. I haven't read it in a while. I don't know why. I need to get on that. And this is called Dewey, Decimated. It's a haunted library mystery, and this is book 6 within the series. It's by Allison, Brook, and it will be coming out on September 6th, 2022. So this cozy mystery takes place in Clover Ridge, Connecticut. Our main character is Carrie, who is a librarian, of course. And on top of this is kind of supernatural, paranormal mystery. It has just a touch of that. Basically, the library she works in is haunted. So you have Evelyn, who is the residing ghost. She's friendly. Not many of the patrons can see her, but Carrie can see her and talk to her, and she kind of helps with the cases sometimes, which I think is really fun. Essentially, everyone's going about their business until one day a body is discovered in the library basement, and it turns out that it's Carrie's fiance's uncle Alec, who hasn't been seen for a while. Like he hasn't seen his uncle, and all of a sudden his body is in the basement, which obviously is concerning. So there is a murderer on the loose, essentially. And on top of that, Alec actually starts to haunt the library because, you know, of the way that he was killed, presumably. And so he's haunting the library. He's very upset. He's disturbing patrons, you know, lots going on. So Carrie decides to figure out what's going on with all of this. In addition to all of the library madness that's going on, there's also a lot of controversy in town because there is a beautiful wildlife sea preserve, and people are vying to either keep it a preserve the land, while other people want to turn it into a condo area. So basically there's a huge debate in town over what's going to be done with this land. A lot of people want to keep it beautiful and natural, while others want to develop the land, and a murder happens in association with that drama. So Carrie starts to look at it and wonder, are these two cases connected, and just how can she put poor Alec's ghost to rest, essentially. So I really recommend this series. I've read at least the first 2 or 3. I need to figure out where I stopped in the series and check some more out from the library because I really enjoyed it. I'm not big on paranormal supernatural cozies, but this has just a touch of whimsy with the ghost, Evelyn, and just enough where it's enjoyable, but not where it dominates the mystery, which is how I personally like them. So I'd recommend this series if you enjoy a bookish cozy with maybe a little bit of paranormal in there. And I love the cover. I think this is such a beautiful cover. Absolutely. Also, it does involve a cat, so if you like cats in your cozies, there is Smokey Joe, who is the library's cat, who often visits around the library and hangs out with Evelyn and Carrie while she's at work. So if you like cats, there's a bonus right there. The next one is from an author who sold over 1 million copies of the Thursday Murder Club, and that book is called The Bullet That Missed, a Thursday Murder Club mystery by Richard Osman, and this book will be coming out on September 20th, 2022. So essentially the Thursday Murder Club series, I've just put the first one on hold with my library. I'm really excited to read this because I've heard excellent things, especially from Meg with Books, who's one of my favorite booktubers. She raves about the series. It was one of her favorite books last year. And essentially the Murder Club meets on Thursday, and there are a bunch of different people who are interested in murder, and they try to get together and solve cold cases. So very interesting hobby. And of course in the first 2 books, you know, they had different mysteries. This one involves a decades-old cold case. It involves a local news reporter. They end up finding a body, and there's just a lot of drama with it. And one of the members, Elizabeth, actually ends up getting letters, it sounds like, and kind of involved, she gets notes or something, I think, from a killer. So this foe has visited Elizabeth, and she's basically on the chopping block, and the rest of the group is really concerned for her safety. So they go pedal to the metal to really figure out what exactly is happening and to get Elizabeth out of danger. So this sounds really fun. I've been told that some people respond differently to the humor in this because it is written by a very British person, and sometimes that humor can maybe be a little bit drier, at least compared to maybe what we're used to as Americans. So I'm really curious to read this series. I've heard lots of great things about it. I'm very excited for it. But this will be the 3rd book in the series, and it will be coming out on the 20th of September. This next one has the most adorable cover. It's called Moonlight and Mayhem, Mysteries of Moonlight Manor, Book 3. It is written by 2 authors, Molly Fitz and Trixie Silvertail. Really fun name. I'm sure that's a pen name, but that's beautiful. Such a fun name. And it will be coming out on September 20th as well. So this one is described as having a snarky heroine, a fun cat, and a spectacular time, basically. So there is a paranormal element to it. Basically, Sydney is our main character, and she, I believe, owns Moonlight Manor, it sounds like. However, she is under like financial struggles, and she's looking at having to sell the place. Her last hope is to auction off different heirlooms in the manor to try to save it. However, her vindictive ex-boyfriend shows up, causing a lot of drama. She's at the auction, there's a bidding war, there's a lot going on, and her ex-boyfriend ends up dead. And of course, the police are looking at her for being a suspect because, she's very connected to the person who died. So she's got to solve the case, figure out what's happened. It sounds like her Katniss is very cute and like clever and might be involved in the mystery solving in some way. So I'm curious about that. But this cover, can we just say this is like Halloween? This is beautiful. This is like Halloween in a nutshell. This is exactly what I want for the spooky season. I love it. It looks great. If you've read this series, let me know. I'm always curious to hear your thoughts on these. Our next one is a 2nd book in a new series. It's called Gone for Gouda, a cheese shop mystery. It's by Korina Moss, and it is book 2 of the cheese shop mystery, and it will be coming out on September 27th. So our main character is a cheesemonger, and she owns a cheese shop. Really, really fun. Her name is Willa, and she lives in Yarrow's Glen. Her cheese shop is named Curds and Whey, which is really fun. She's just opened. She's got a lot on her plate as a new business owner, and she's actually working on building a float for the fall festival. And the French-inspired cheese shop that she owns is also having the celebrity vegan chef Phoebe Winston hosting a part of the event with her. However, I love this scandal. There's photos that surface proving that Phoebe, who claims, is a vegan chef, she's popular as a vegan chef, is actually a carnivore, which creates a massive scandal, of course, which personally love that in a cozy mystery. I like uncovering scandals and things like that. I always think that's fun. So she's found out to be a carnivore, which of course really makes everything kind of fall apart, her reputation. And on top of that, Phoebe is actually found murdered. So not only was her reputation ruined right beforehand, but she was also murdered. Willa jumps on the case, especially when she finds out that her employee, Archie, was the last one to see Phoebe alive and the first person that the police are really suspecting, which of course statistically makes sense. A lot of times the first person on the scene or one of the people on the scene did have something to did have a role in it. But of course Willa knows that Archie is innocent, so she is going to clear his name, basically. And I love the final sentence in the summary. It says, "To clear his name, Willa must uncover who's been up to no Gouda." I think that's just such a fun pun. So that one sounds really interesting. I haven't read the first one in the series, but it is on my list. I love, love, love cheese. And the series just sounds really interesting. Let me know if you've read any of these, but I definitely want to hop on and read this one. So next we have a bookish cozy mystery, a favorite among many of us, myself included. And this one is called Bound by Murder, an antique bookshop mystery. This is book 3 in the series, and it's written by Laura Gail Black. It's recommended for fans of Ellery Adams and Paige Shelton, and the book comes out September 6th, 2022. So our main character in this is named Jenna Quinn, and she is an antique bookseller. There is a lot of romance in the air at the Hoax Bluff Inn, where it sounds like she's either like the bookshop's located close to or she's located in there. It doesn't quite say in the description. I haven't read this book yet. But there's a lot of romance in the air, and she's just really happy and everything's going great. However, her ex shows up with his fiancée, Missy Plots. What a name. Does that sound like, it sounds like a pun or something, like missed plot or something, I don't know. But essentially he shows up, and even though he is engaged to Missy, he ends up vying for Jenna's attention and trying to get her to go back with him. She refuses, of course. However, shortly after this, Missy is found dead, and her ex-boyfriend is quickly, accused of the crime because he has different motives and was one of the last people to see her. However, he begs Jenna for help in clearing his name, and even his mother, Gwendolyn, urges her to really investigate it and just begs him to exonerate her son, basically. And so she decides to help him. She knows that, you know, even though maybe he wasn't the greatest person ever, that he didn't hurt his fiancée, and so she decides to help him out. She starts digging into Missy's past, and she finds different, like, embezzlement schemes, and it might be linked to, like, another murder, which I always love the past-present, like, murder links. I think those are fascinating. So this one sounds really interesting. Let me know if you've read this. I always love a good bookish cozy mystery, so let me know if you're familiar with the series. So our next one is by Maddie Day. It's called Murder in a Cape Cottage. It's a Cozy Capers book group mystery, so another bookish cozy. It's book 4 in the series, and this does come out on September 27th, 2022. And this actually takes place the day after Christmas, so it will have some Christmas holiday themes throughout it if you are interested in a wintry holiday cozy mystery to cozy up to. So our main character in this is named Mac, and she owns a bookshop, and she's also part of the book, like, Cozy Capers book club. So they read different cozy mysteries. It sounds like in this one they're actually reading a coloring book cozy, which she's really excited about because she wants something very lighthearted because she's actually getting ready to marry her fiance on New Year's Eve, which of course is only, you know, a week or so after Christmas, right? So it's coming up really fast, everything is moving quickly, and they're actually making renovations on the cottage they bought together when they discover a skeleton dressed in a wedding gown in the wall of their cottage, which, how disturbing is that? Not to mention the fact that the skeleton is in a wedding dress. I would be, like, selling that place so quickly, moving out, like, no bad omens, like, that just, no. So Mac pulls it together, and she starts to dig into the case with the help of her librarian friend, Flo, who I'm assuming might be in the book group with her. And they find out this is actually a decades-old cold case, and it involved a pair of star-crossed lovers whose families basically did not approve of their relationship. And so this might actually be, like, someone who took it out on the bride when they were maybe planning on eloping or something like that. So this sounds fascinating. I love cozy mysteries with, like, cold cases like this, and I've read quite a few this year where they found people in walls, which for some reason just terrifies me. I can't even imagine, but this sounds amazing. I'm very interested in this. I think the cover looks darling. I love the ideas of I love the idea of, like, a New Year's Eve wedding, post-Christmas season for the cozy. This sounds amazing. Cannot wait to read this. And our last book is called Last But Not Leashed, so I had to put it last on this list. And this is a veterinarian cozy mystery. It's Dr. Kate Vet Mysteries. It's book 2 within the series, and this will be coming out on September 6th, 2022. And this is also a Christmas holiday themed cozy mystery. Again, we're in that time of year, which is amazing. So our main character in this is called Dr. Kate Turner, and she's a veterinarian, and she lives in this small town, and she's the only vet within this small town. So she's constantly being bombarded by, like, emergency calls, and she's just overworked. She recently solved her first mystery within the first book, and she's just hoping, she wants to get through the year without any more corpses. Understandable, certainly. And so everything's going pretty well. She's involved with a law student. They have a long-distance relationship, but it's not so perfect, it sounds like. She's also dealing with an artist who's insisting that she become his muse, and it sounds like there's a bit of flirtation there, so it sounds like there might be a bit of a romantic subplot if you really enjoy that in your cozy mystery. And everything's going okay until the body of a woman named Suki is found dead, and it sounds like she had just given, like, an organization seminar. She was found dead in, like, the community center, and Dr. Kate starts to look into it. However, quickly after that, another body, the body of Suki's assistant, is actually found just as New Year's hits. So she's left with 2 bodies, lots of questions, not a lot of answers, and swamps of all these animals being sent to her for help because, you know, she's the only veterinarian in the area, her own messy love life. I mean, Dr. Kate sounds like she needs a vacation, basically, this poor lady. But this one sounds really fun. I love the idea of a veterinarian. I haven't personally read one with that theme before. I think that sounds really fun, and I think this cover is just perfect for the holidays. Who else is excited for the holidays? Anyways, guys, Last But Not Leashed is our last cozy mystery we are talking about today. Please let me know, did I miss any that you're excited for that are coming out in September? Which of these are you most excited for? Are they part of any series that you are a long-term fan of? I cannot wait for some of these to come out. I'm so excited. October has some really big releases, so definitely hit subscribe. Stay tuned for that upcoming video on new October cozy mysteries. I do upload videos every single week on books, especially in the mystery genre, so if you like those books, definitely hit subscribe. I don't want you to miss out. And please leave me a comment. Let me know which ones you're most excited for, because I can't even begin to pick. There's too many. There's just too many. These are all so amazing. I can't wait. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!